welcome to episode 3 of the WBBL review. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Commonwealth Games silver medalist Melita Carr, who will help us go through all of the matchups from the last weekend. We will talk about the cup final and the Sky Sports coverage and how important that is. But without further ado, I am delighted to welcome Melita to the show now.
Right, thank you very much for joining me. First of all, how have you found the last 11 months of lockdowns and things like that?
It's been tough, not being able to see friends and some family as well. But for me, coming off an injury, it's actually perfect time for me to just focus on getting back to myself. Luckily, I was able to work out in a gym in the University of East London, as it's for elite athletes only. So I'm fortunate enough to still be able to lift weights and play basketball. But yeah, I do miss going to restaurants and eating out with my friends. I think that's the thing that I miss the most.
And what have you thought of the season as a whole? Because you're kind of very lucky to be in a position where we're going to be still watching some basketball. What do you think of the season as a whole so far?
I think the season's been good. I think there's been loads of upsets. There's been loads of close games. So it's nice to be able to watch it at home comfortably on the TV and get excited about it. I guess it's a shame that we can't watch the games live in person, but I'm just happy that the league is still very competitive and people are still playing well, even though they may not have had as many practices or have had to wait a long time to play the games.
So what I thought we could do is just go through the games from the weekend and pick out any kind of key talking points. And I'll leave the cup final to the end.
Okay.
We'll start with the London Lions, Barking Abbott London Lions against Auckland Wolves from midweek last week.
Yeah.
So the result 65-92. So quite another comprehensive win for London. What do you think's working so well for London at the minute?
I think the starting five, or even let's say with the addition of 3 people from the bench, have played American basketball. They've gone to good universities in pretty much, I think everyone played D1 at the D1 level. So I think they just instantly have that experience. And then, I practice with them and they gel very well together. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows each other's strengths and weaknesses. So they're able to then use that to their advantage in the actual games. Also, they practice pretty much nearly every single day. They have the weight room as well. So I think they're just fired up, really.
So they're unbeaten in the league. I know the Seven Oaks beat them in the cup, I think, but and they had a game called off because of the virus, I think. But yeah, Cassie Breen, 28 points the other night. She's shoot as they say, but she I think 19 threes in the last 3 games. I think she's feeling it at the minute, isn't she?
Exactly, and it's not even a surprise to me because in practice you leave her open. Even if you don't leave her open, if you're closing out on her and you're literally this far away from her, she still hits the shots. So for me, for the rest of the season, I think she should be putting up 10 or more shots a game and hitting either like 80%, 90%, even 100% of them.
Yeah, I talked to Cassie before London played Newcastle earlier in the season, and she said, I asked the question, who should Newcastle fans be kind of wary about from this team? And she said, well, I can shoot all right sometimes, and I think that's underplaying it a little bit. I think she had 28 points in that first half against Newcastle.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I like her too, because she's so modest and, well, actually, maybe not a good thing because she talks down for herself. So the other teams are like, oh, okay, maybe she's not that bad. She was just having a good game. Whereas she really knows she can actually shoot the ball better than anyone I know, even in the BBL as well.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, I don't like to because it should be pick out individual players because it has been kind of a team effort for this London team. But Kennedy Leonard, again, another star of the team.
Yeah, she's a great point guard. She's able to find her teammates at the right times as well. Even if she's not looking at you, she knows you're open and she will make a no-look pass, and it's just a brilliant pass. And even sometimes her teammates aren't expecting it themselves because it's such an amazing pass. And she also keeps the team together as well. Anytime she subs out, the team kind of folds a little bit. So I think she's very key for the Lions, and I'm excited to see her play because anytime she plays, it's literally, you just don't know what you're gonna get because her passes are literally that on point.
So where do we see this London team at the end of the season?
I do definitely see them in the finals. I think, yeah, definitely 100%. I would love for them to win, but we just have to see how it goes.
Yeah, they're a very exciting team to watch. From a like a neutral, I mean, I support Newcastle, but a neutral point of view, London are definitely the team that kind of I enjoy watching their matches.
Yeah, exactly. They look like they're having fun as well, which is also great to watch.
So Auckland Wolves, the opposition, they are still searching for their first win of the season. Obviously, you saw the Seven Oaks game, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Kind of where do you see them improving this season, or how do you see them picking up that win?
It's been tough for them because they've lost, I think, three of their main players. So, and they lost Lizzie in the London game on last week Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're struggling to just find their flow of things again. But obviously, it's going to take time. I think the more games and the more practices they have, they're definitely going to start to gel together again. So I think they're just finding their feet at the moment.
Yeah. So as I said, we'll leave the cup final to the end. So moving into Saturday's games, we'll start with Durham against Essex. Again, Durham, a team that I haven't seen them play fully yet. I've just seen bits and pieces because I think that was their second game.
Yeah.
I've seen Essex a couple of times, but Essex comfortable winners, 54-75. Kind of, what have you made of Essex started the season?
Essex as well has had a short lineup as well. So I remember watching them play their first game and they only had 8 players. And I think they had 8 players again for their second game. So I think they're kind of struggling to keep the high level that they play in. So they play very, very fast. But it's always hard to keep that speed and only have a few subs. So I do think it's tough for them to win games, well, close games anyway, because they might be a little bit tired.
Mm-hmm.
But against, who did they play? Sorry, again this weekend.
Played Durham this weekend.
Durham, that's it. Yeah. I was thinking another team. Against Durham, Durham's kind of struggled a little bit as well. I know they've had a huge roster change, so I think they're finding their feet as well. But Essex this is their third game of the season. Am I correct?
I think they've played 5. I've got written down 3 and 2 now. So I know they've beaten Newcastle and they've beaten Nottingham, and then obviously they've beaten Durham.
Okay, and then they lost to the Lions.
And they lost to Nottingham as well.
And Nottingham as well. Okay, yeah. So I do think they are a good team, though. I think they do gel very well together. So I think they're going to win some more games as well.
Yeah, just picking out some of the key numbers from the game. Costa with 15 points and 11 rebounds. Angel Waith, who has had a good start of the season, 21 points, 12 rebounds. And Andrea Colhass, again, captain of the team. She's been playing very, very well, scoring big numbers as well.
Exactly. I think they're a very aggressive team as well. And the rebound stats are pretty high, like you said. So I think they just keep doing what they're doing, and I think they'll pull out some more wins.
Right. So a game that I think you were commentating on, Seven Oaks against Auckland's. It was quite a tight game. What did you make of it?
I was pretty shocked, actually. I thought Oakland's had it in the bag. I thought they was going to pull away through fast breaks and just beat them down the floor constantly, maybe pressure them a little bit because Seven Oaks literally played a couple of hours before. But I didn't see that, so it was pretty shocking, and I think that's why they lost. I just think they didn't have as much energy as they needed. Although the American came alive towards the end of the game, which she literally hit 2 threes contested, and it literally had me on my feet. I was trying to compose myself because I knew the camera was right there as well as I was commentating, so I was like, okay, deep breath, Mel. But it was an exciting game. It was literally like one team would dominate and then the other team would come back and dominate, so it was a very up and down game, and it was exciting to watch and commentate.
Yeah, there's some key shots towards the end with Janice Monacana hit a couple of threes towards the end. Renee Bush, again, that corner three that just kind of took the wind out of the sails of Auckland, I think, towards the end. Kat Carr, one assist away from a triple-double.
Yeah, I wish I knew that. I would have shouted at her, like, just pass the ball. Pass it quickly, so shoot.
But yeah, as you said, coming straight after the cup final, the day after, obviously the disappointment that they had because of the result, obviously the tiredness that they're probably feeling, because they're missing a couple of players, I think, at the minute. Seven Oaks, aren't they? De Silva, being the main one. I think it was a good victory for Seven Oaks.
Yeah, definitely, and I think they probably regrouped before the game and said, okay, we've got to leave what happened in the past and just keep pushing and make sure that we win every game possible, and it starts from right now. And yeah, they pulled away, and you can see that they've been together for such a long time as well to pull out a win like that. And then you've got the vets on the team, then you have Janice as well, and Garrido as well. She's definitely aggressive too, so yeah, it was a good win for them.
So it was 69-62 to Seven Oaks. So moving on, Nottingham had 2 matches this weekend, both pretty comprehensive victories. We'll start with the Manchester game, 61-95. I mean, let's just talk about Jasmine Joyner for a little bit. What a weekend she has.
Right, and she's consistently done her job and done it well, constantly rebounding, going back up. I think she kind of wants to rack up her rebound numbers, and sometimes she goes up, misses, gets it again, goes up again. So, but yeah, she's definitely such a hard person to guard. I don't think anyone in this league has been able to keep her quiet, and it's exciting as well as her blocks too. Anytime someone drives on her and goes up, she literally rejects them. So she's definitely an exciting player to watch.
Across the weekend, she got 55 points, 24 rebounds, 5 assists, I think it was, 3 steals, 2 blocks. I think just across those 2 games, Chelsea Shumpus put up some big numbers yet again. Nottingham are an interesting team at the minute, I think, because you've got comfortable wins like this, wins against Newcastle, wins again, and then the game against Essex where they lost. It's kind of, I think, maybe still finding their feet as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard to kind of leave 2 players, give them the roles to win games consistently. Costa as well, she does add to the team, but it's a bit hard because if Shumpard's not on, or Jasmine, I don't know, she just misses a few rebounds, then, you know, who else kind of brings to the table? I know Siobhan Pryor is in and out. She had a wrist injury as well, so was unable to play some of the games. So it's kind of tough to just leave it to 2 to 3 players. And I think that's probably why they lost to Essex in overtime. And then against Barking, they pretty much, it wasn't a close game. So it's tough to win games if you don't really have a deep roster.
Well, yeah, I noticed for the Manchester game, there was only 1 point from the bench. So they scored 95 and to only have that 1 point, I think it was, from the bench. Yeah, it's. Wow. I don't know. I would be a bit worried about that, maybe.
Would you? I think in previous years they've done well, so I think they're just comfortable with that, and they know what they're going to get from their starting 5. So I think it's just something that they're used to.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. What do we make of Manchester's season so far? Because obviously it's been stop and start, but I think they've won 1, maybe it's 1 or 2 games, and they beat Newcastle at one point. But what have you made of their kind of season so far?
Yeah, I think it's tricky for them because they have a lot of GB international players on their team. But again, I don't think they've really gelled together yet. And I think that's just the lack of games and maybe practices. I'm not sure if they've been practicing throughout COVID. So yeah, it must be tough for them. I think they're going to probably throughout the season get it together. So we literally just got to wait and see with them because they do have a strong starting five. So yeah, it's got to see them.
So Nottingham are playing on the Sunday as well against Caledonia Pride. 96-50 win this time, so another 46-point victory. Obviously, we've talked about Nottingham, Chelsea Sunderland 24 points again, and Joyner 25 points again in that game. But Caledonia, they've had some heavy defeats this season. I know they're a young team and coming through, but 30 points, 54 points, 46-point defeats. How would it feel? I don't know if you've been in the situation where you've been in a team that are getting beaten like heavily. How does it feel, or how do you think it feels to be in that situation?
I don't think I've ever been in that situation.
Good answer.
But I can imagine that being very tough. I think maybe because it's early in the season, so I think for them it's just more let's try to get out as much as possible from the games. And like you said, the team is pretty young, so I think they're probably thinking, I'm very lucky to be playing big minutes in the highest league in England in GB. So I think they're probably just taking away as much positives as possible. Maybe you never know, they could sign someone within the next 2 weeks to help them out, because I know Hannah Rowe left very after the first game, or
no, I'm not sure.
I think it was this season anyway. I could be getting my mind mixed up from last season. So yeah, that's a heavy loss for them. So yeah, we just gotta kind of say this season maybe they're not going to do too well, but just learn from it.
As you said, picking out the positives, they've had Pollyanna Stories had a couple of good games. Did they beat Durham? Maud Ranger, 28-point double in this match against Nottingham. So I think, as you say, taking the positives from the season and building a young team, experience and learning from that.
Exactly.
Right, possibly the closest game of the weekend, Newcastle against Cardiff. Some controversy at the end as well. Controversy.
I missed the game. I'm so upset, but I did catch the highlights from it. I kind of predicted that it would be a close game. I couldn't tell you beforehand who would pull away with the victory. I saw the final shot that was taken to make it for them to win, and that was a tough shot, definitely from the block to then float it over someone. And for me as a player, when someone's running at you and you're running towards them, to then float the ball, it was an amazing shot. Can't fault it.
Yeah, so Cardiff took the game 79-77. Shannon Hatch, 13 points, 12 rebounds. New signing Marley Ball, top scorer with 19 for Cardiff. For Newcastle, you had Alison Gurrell again, 29 points. What have you made of Alison Gurrell this season?
She amazing. She kind of does it all as well. She will take the 3-pointer, she'll pull up, and she's very aggressive as well. She's pretty quick as well. She gets a lot of her points off the fast break, so it's good to watch her. And she beat the record as well for the highest scoring in a game, so that was pretty exciting. I think it was very big. I do wish that it was kind of pushed a bit more on social media, because I think for anyone to score 40 points in a game is amazing. So yeah, give her credit.
Sure. Absolutely. Newcastle have actually had a few struggles this season. They've had quite a few injuries. They've had a couple of long-term injuries where players have been out for the season. You have Marina Fernandez and Sarah Burkett lost early on. You've had kind of Rachel Bland in and out of the team. You've had Abby Lowe's been out for a few games and things like that. So I think they moved to 1-7 in the league, or 1-6 in the league now. Kind of, have you seen much of Newcastle this season?
Yeah, I've seen a few of their games, and yeah, like I said, because they've lost a few players, it is such a shame because every game they've had to adjust due to a player being out. But I do think they are a good team. So hopefully maybe next season or in up and coming games, they kind of just figure it out because they definitely do have the skill set to win games.
I forgot to mention about Lisa Cooper and Mante moving to Germany mid-season as well. That was a few games ago, and it must be, as you say, it must be hard adjusting every single game. I mean, they didn't have Lisa for the first couple of games of the season, so then to get kind of a traditional big coming in, then learning how to play around that system,
Right.
and then I think it's hard to judge a team at the minute.
It is.
Right. Well, the main event of the weekend, then the cup final. Let's just start with talking about kind of the Sky Sports coverage. What did you make of the whole evening on Sky?
I think it's definitely amazing that the game was aired on Sky. I didn't think it was going to be aired, but after it being postponed, after when the guys were playing. So as soon as I found out that it was aired, I was super happy, trying to get it out there as much as possible to get people to watch it. And having Siobhan and Rhiann Bailey as well to commentate with Kieran, it was amazing. I think they're people that know the game. They've been in the WBBL from when it was D1, so it was great to see them kind of talk us through the game and to be able to see the players like in high quality. It was amazing. I was definitely excited. The start of the game, Sevenoaks didn't do too well, and in my head I was nervous. I was thinking, you need to pull it up because this is very important for the WBBL. It needs to be a close game so that people can see that the women's game is exciting. And especially because beforehand I was literally like, it's going to go to overtime, it's going to be super, super close. So I'm happy that it was a close game and exciting game to watch.
As you said, Sevenoaks, I think 2 months off they had before the game, bit of rust, and I think they were 21-4 the start for Leicester it was. So as you say, it was a bit like, oh, this is going to be just a blowout game, but no, again, same names we mentioned before, Janice Monacana and the kind of Kat Cars and Tiani Clarks really kind of brought Sevenoaks back into contention in that game. Final score was 78-67 for Leicester. MVP was Kate Oliver, 18 points and 14 rebounds. Again, Holly Winterburn put up some big numbers. What have you made of Holly's season so far?
I do think she's a great player, but I think because of her height, I think that gives her an advantage because do you put a guard on her? If you do, then she can easily shoot over them. Do you put a big on her? Then she's going to blow past them. So she's a very versatile type of player. She did go a bit quiet in the second half, but I guess because the game was kind of in their hands. So I think she shared the ball a lot more. And I think Oliver, she's consistent as well with the team. She can shoot the ball as well. And then inside she can do what she does well too. So, and then Ella Clark as well, you had her on too at the same time. So they have such a big lineup. It was hard for Sevenoaks to defend them because Sevenoaks lost Julia, and then Lavinia was out having to isolate due to being with the national team. It was tough for Sevenoaks to pull a win out.
One Leicester player we haven't mentioned yet who had an incredible game, I thought, Hannah Robb. I thought the energy she brought to that game, and obviously the shooting ability, which we all know about, but there was even the drives to the basket. She did kind of it all on Friday night.
Yeah, exactly. And I haven't seen Hannah play too much, so this was the first game I've watched, like literally just the whole game of hers. So I was definitely not surprised, but I was like, wow, she can hoop. Because I've never seen her play before, but obviously she's been with the national team. So I knew she got picked for a reason, and she showed it again in the finals with her 3-point shooting ability. She's done very well, and I think she's gelled very well with Leicester as well. It looks like she's been there for a long time. So yeah, I'm happy for her because she is young and she's able to do just as much as like Holly does. So Leicester has a good team.
Yeah. So obviously we mentioned Sky Sports. You mentioned seeing the players in kind of high definition and things. Well, the thing I loved the most was the kind of, do you know, the locker room bits where they talk about the teammates and like just the kind of the professional look of all of that kind of the content to the coverage was brilliant. Getting to know the players a bit more and things like that.
Exactly. And I think that's what people watching the game needs as well. Just more information about the players and the team in general, because if you don't know who you're watching, it's kind of hard to enjoy it as much as if you do know the players, if you know that person's a shooter or a driver. So it was fun watching that.
So next weekend we've got a few big games because we've got a few teams like I think Caledonia are playing Newcastle. We've got a few teams that could do with a win. Playing each other, so that would be very interesting. But also next Saturday we've got the kind of cup final rematch.
Yeah,
Sevenoaks and Leicester. How do you see that going?
I think it's going to be close. I really don't know because Sevenoaks they will get back Lavinia, so at least there won't be as much mismatches inside like they did in the finals. So. And then they would have had practices as well. They played a game already. So at least they're warming up to getting back into the flow of things. So I don't know. I don't know who's got it. Who do you think?
I think it's always interesting because obviously before last week, Sevenoaks and Leicester hadn't played each other yet this season. But now they've had a chance to see each other kind of in person. Put that into place in practice during the week, and I think it's going to be a really interesting contest on Saturday.
Yeah.
But no, I really appreciate you joining me. It's been really fascinating to hear your insights and your thoughts on the season so far.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for everything that you're doing as well. I know a lot of the girls have appreciated all the posts and stuff like that. It's really nice to have kind of people behind with basketball. So. Yeah, thank you.
I'll do my best. But yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's all we've got time for today. But it's been an amazing chat with Melita, finding out all of her insights into the last WBBL weekend. I can't wait to drop episode 4 in the next couple of days. It's a good one, trust me. But like, subscribe, share. Do whatever you need to do. It would be really, really appreciated. And I will see you very soon.